I'm going to show you a real basic way of understanding reality. I call it the cycle of reality. And it starts with focus. What are you focused on? Like if you focus on a bunch of people screaming and running down a corridor, that's going to give you a different feeling than if you focus on, well, let's put a better, simpler example. I don't know how well you understand photography, but especially in the old days, when you actually had a lens that you focused, you've seen pictures where something up close like a butterfly is in perfect view, but the things in the background are all fuzzy and blurry and you can't even tell what they are. Yes, you've all seen that. Okay, that's called a shallow depth of field. So you're focused on the thing very close and the rest of the things the camera lens can't see both. And if you've ever seen something that's kind of distant and it's in perfect focus, but there's maybe some grass or flowers in the foreground, you can't really tell, it's just a blur of color. Have you ever seen that? Okay, so that's a deeper focus length. So the camera's focused on what's far away, so it can't see what's up close, or focused on what's close, can't see what's far away. So imagine this being your life. You go to a picnic, and it's a huge storm rolling in. It's miles away, but it's a big one. Big thunder clouds rolling in. And you just got everybody settled. You just got the picnic stuff out, and there's all this great food. And there happen to be butterflies everywhere, and you've got the kids there. Now what do? You focus on the butterflies and the food, and you have a wonderful time. The storm's not going to be here for 45 minutes. You can eat your food and be packed into the car in 45 minutes. Maybe it'll be an hour, and you have a great time. And then you get in the car and you drive home, and it starts to rain. That's fine. We'll watch movies when we get home. We had a great picnic. We had a great time. We got to see the butterflies. Because I'm focusing on the butterfly, the storm in the background goes blurry. It's just a soft gray blur in the background with this beautiful butterfly in the foreground of my focus. But you focus on the storm, everything else goes blurry. And now what are you going to do? You look it up and you're focused on that storm. What story will ensue? What comes next? Panic, fear. You see thunders. I mean, it's a thundercloud. You can see little sparks of lightning off in the distance. Too far away, can't hear it yet. What are you going to do? Pack up and go home. There you go. Even before you leave, you're so busy worrying about the storm, thinking about how long until it gets here, thinking about how fast can we get packed up, how soon can we get everybody in the car, how it's ruined your day, how you've gone through all of this trouble for nothing. And so even while you're still there, you're upset and miserable because you're thinking thoughts that cause you to feel that way. And then, of course, you not only pack up early, forget the whole fun time, but you had a bad time even while you were there, all because you focused on that. Well, this is your life. You can only focus on one thing at a time. That's it. Now, I was teaching this in a big session. I don't know, there are several thousand people, 2,000, 3,000 people in the audience. And it was a full day event, sort of like this. Big budget project. So they brought in and I just finished talking about how you can only focus on one thing at a time, which is wonderful. Because you can either focus on what's good or what's bad, what's right or what's wrong, what's wonderful or not. If you can only focus on one thing, what's the fastest way to stop thinking about or focusing on something bad? Focus on something good, absolutely, and boom. If that were true, that would make a lot of sense. So I go off stage during the lunch break, and they brought in for the entertainment, these two guys called the Passing Zone. Have any of you heard of them? They're in the Guinness Book of Records like 20 times they're a juggling act. For the most bowling pins in the air, they do bowling pins and chainsaws and bowling balls and crazy stuff. And they go out to entertain, and they do it like in a tutu and just crazy stuff, very entertaining. Well, I'm watching, and suddenly I realize they've got like 15 pins in the air, all at one time. And I'm going, I'm screwed. I just finished saying you can only focus on one thing at a time. And so when they come off stage, I haven't gone back on yet, And I tell them, I say, you guys are killing me. You just blew my whole entire lecture on the fact that you can only focus on one thing at a time. They go, well, no, that's true. I go, well, then how in the heck do you explain 15 bowling pins? And they said, here, it's easy. They stood apart like 20, 30 feet, and he had me stand next to one of them. He said, I know, he said, we each pick a spot in the air. And I know if my pin hits that spot, it's going to land in his left palm. I just have to hit that spot. And he's doing the same thing with another spot. He knows it'll land in my palm. So all I do, hold my palm out. There's going to be a pin in it any second now. Oh, there it is. Hit that spot. There it is. Hit that spot. He says, and I just do that. He said, if for any reason I stop focusing on that spot, all 15 pins will hit the ground. Yay! So, of course, I put on the tutu, grabbed some pins, and walked out and told the story. Said, see, I've got proof. You can only focus on one thing at a time, and it's true. That took hyper-focus. So, man, anything could have happened. There's shows on TV. Have you seen the one where they have a bunch of guys playing basketball and a gorilla walks through the picture? Hands up. How many of you seen that? And you're supposed to count the number of times to pass the ball. And as long as you're focused on the numbers, you don't see the gorilla. It's a freaking gorilla. And he walks right through the scene and you can't see him because, again, you can only focus on one thing at a time. This is huge. So when you're in a dark place, ask yourself, what am I focused on? And is there something else I could focus on that would change the state I'm in at this moment? Am I focused on the fact that this person is late? Or am I focused on the fact that just bought me an extra 15 minutes to call my mom or finish my texting? Because it's all there. I can sit here and feel sorry for myself because he's late and stare at the ceiling, or I can be, hey, grateful for the fact that I've got a little extra time on my hands. So that's the step one in the cycle of reality. It starts with your focus, whether you're focusing on what's good or what's bad, what's right or what's wrong, what's present, what's missing. And it's up to you. Then starts the feedback loop. If you're focused on the dark, then the next things will be dark as well. Focused on the bright, same thing. So focused on the dark, so it starts with the focus, and then it turns into what I call self-talk. That's, again, just a couple of words. He's late. Okay, it's just self-talk. He's late. Yeah, he's late. He's late. He's late. I'm focused on the fact that he's late, and I'm telling myself he's late. So it's starting to take me down that path. Well, so that's the second step. Starts with self-talk, with focus, then goes to self-talk. What's my self-talk? Self-talk can be he's late, could be she hates me, could be I'm ugly, could be any number of things. What's the self-talk? And we all have it. And you have negative self-talk and positive self-talk. The sooner you nip it in the bud, the better. The sooner you catch the focus or the self-talk, the better. Because if you don't catch it, it develops into a full-blown story. That's number 3, your story. So you got your focus, turns into self-talk, turns into a story. Well, a story, that has a plot. It's not just he's late. He's late. He's always late. You know what? He's late because he doesn't respect me. In fact, now that I think about it, that one time that there was that one job opportunity, he didn't tell me about it. He told so-and-so because he doesn't respect me. Otherwise, he'd have told me about it. And on it goes until you've got a whole story. Okay? So number 3 is the story that develops. Now, this is a negative feedback loop. It could have gone positively, but you got the negative going. So once you've got the story, well, we don't like stories that aren't true, unless we're just watching a movie that's for fun. We want our stories to be true. We want to be right about it, right? We want to be accurate. So what do we do when we have a story and we want it to be true? What did Goethe say? You've been here. You already know the answers. She keeps on yelling out the answers. Mary, well, you know the answers. Go ahead. What'd you say? Goethe wrote, we see what we're looking for. Yes. Plus 100, right? Pardon? Plus 100, right? Plus 100. Sure. Since you haven't gotten any balls batted at you, because you're so close, I'm afraid that I'll create permanent brain damage. And you live in the mind, I don't want to do that. So, okay. So, yeah. So, we want our story to be true. So, we're going to look for proof. And if we look for proof, we're going to find it, aren't we? And so now we have, what's the next thing? Belief. Your reality is just a story you believe. So now you've got reality. Focus, self-talk, story, belief, reality. And once that reality forms, it's going to change your behavior, isn't it? You're going to behave appropriately for that reality. The reality that he doesn't like me, well, screw him, right? Or there's a bunch of people that are being shot down. There's a bunch of gunmen at Disney World. Well, then I'm going to get out of here. Time to run. Why are all those other people running? Well, because you are. Why am I running? Because they are. So one begets the other. So yeah, so now it affects your behavior. And guess what your behavior does? Your behavior creates evidence. Now you've got real proof. Not just a belief. Now you've got proof. Because now you have a guy, I'm doing this to him, he's now doing it back to me. Now there's my proof. See how he's treating me? I start running, everybody else is running, people start getting trampled. This is a dangerous environment. Well, there you go. Why is it dangerous? Not because it was dangerous to begin with, but because it became dangerous because of all these stories that were driving it. And now people are running like madmen and they're trampling, and now you've got your proof. You've got your absolute evidence that it's true. Once you have evidence, the whole cycle starts all over again. Now I'm going to focus even more on what's going wrong, even more on this guy who's mistreating me. And now I'm going to build my stories, my self-talk stories, and so on. And it's just going to keep getting stronger and stronger. That's your reality, and that's your reality on steroids. Getting bigger and bigger and bigger. That's what's happening with the media. I don't care whether it's one side or the other. Whichever side you're listening to, that's what they're doing. Okay? That's what's happening to us in our lives. The people you have in your life, your friends, who tell you, always agree with you about everything you say. That's all they're doing. Is they're just fortifying your story. And why do you like it? Because we want to be right about our story. So we surround ourselves with people who agree with us. Because that helps us believe in our stories. That's not your best friend. Your best friends are the ones who will take you on. I'm constantly saying, come on, you want to argue with me? Bring it. Bring it. I do it with my clients. Well, he's not here right now, but that's something I do constantly with my coaching clients. I say, take me on. Because if you win, I'll change my coaching forever. But you won't. Because I've been doing this for 45 years. Chances are you'll change the way you think forever. Now you can do the exact same thing in reverse. You can start a positive feedback loop. Somebody give me an example of something that you could focus on. Take me through the cycle of reality. Something positive.
Just things you're grateful for.
Wonderful. Focus on something. What's something you're grateful for?
My family.
Well, okay, now a little self-talk. Say something about your family in as few words as possible.
They raised me well.
Focus on his family, self-talk. They raised me well. Tell me a little about that. Now he's going to write a story.
Yeah, they taught me how to be independent and how to make good choices that will positively affect my future.
Wow, that sounds pretty good. Sounds like he's got himself a story. Do you believe that story?
I do.
Do you have proof of it?
Yeah.
Give me an example.
Well, they supported me when I was going through a tough time with a career change. And I ended up quitting grad school that I was getting a full ride on. And it just wasn't really fulfilling me. And I didn't really have any plan, but they were always there for me. They knew I was going to be okay. So, and then, I actually ran into Nate, and that's how I started doing this job. And it's been like life-changing for me, so.
Okay, so it's all the way through. He's got his belief, his story, his reality. How did that change your behavior?
I just want to get back and help other people achieve the things they want, and just help give others a sense of value that I've gotten.
Yeah, and does it get you up and get you going?
Yeah.
Taking action? And will that action create evidence?
Yeah.
And there we go. Now, the thing is, this is just something that happened. Thanks for sharing. That was good. This is just something that happened. What if you did it on purpose? What if you started right out going, I'm going to intentionally create a positive feedback loop that helps me feel great about my life, that gets me moving, that takes me down this path, that helps me be more successful in my job. And today's a door day. We're going to go out and bang some doors. Well, before I go out, I'm going to create the state. And I'm going to start looking. What can I focus on that'll put me in that place? What self-talk, what story, what proof, what can I do so that when I walk out that door, I am in this amazing place? What do you think they're doing at halftime during a football game? Man, they're not talking to the football player. Football player knows everything. He's been through 1,000 of professional football players, heard thousands of halftime speeches. They're talking to the subconscious. See, your subconscious is always listening. It's always awake. It doesn't know right from wrong, good for bad. Doesn't make any decisions. It just helps bring about whatever you say is true. And so it's just listening. You tell me bad stuff. You say, I'm a loser, I'm bad at math. And it'll just help show you proof that you're bad at math. I can't do math. And sure enough, every time you go to write a tip at a restaurant, your brain will freeze up. I'm bad at math. I can't do that. Mary did that. We sat down. I said, give me 30 seconds. I'll show you how to write a tip. You can write a tip. Anyone can. I said, take the number, move the decimal, times 2. Like this? Yeah. Now you can write tips. Oh my God, I can make tips. I'm not that bad. That's all it took. Boom. Rewrote the story. But she wouldn't even try to write tips until then because she had a story, I can't do math. And she thought making tips, that's math. I can't do math, right? And it stopped her all those years. Now she's a tip writing fool. She'll rip that check right out of my hand. And here, I'll do the tip. There we go. I put in an extra 1.5% just because they were pretty smart, because they handled it so well. I mean, she's like, whoa, can she write tips? So what is it that you can do that'll change your course of action, change your life forever, right? What else can you rewrite? What stories? So we're going to just keep going back to this. So every one of those steps is critical. Take control. What do you believe that could be wrong? So I have this wonderful saying. In fact, it's one of the things I do when I am, which happens frequently, sitting at a table or in a room full of people who have strong political beliefs or religious beliefs. It doesn't matter to me what side they're on. I have a rule. It's very simple. I say, listen, you know what? I don't really spend a lot of time talking about politics or religion, but I'm willing to do it here with you tonight under one set of circumstances. And they're like, well, yeah, what? And I say, as long as no matter what it is you say, at the end of your sentence, you say, and I could be wrong. One of two things happens. Either they just shut up and change the subject because they're not willing to admit they could be wrong, in which case I don't want to have a conversation with anybody who isn't willing to consider the possibility that they could be wrong. Because that's not a conversation, is it? What is it when you talk to somebody who's absolutely positive that they're right and they're not willing to listen to anything you have to say unless you agree? That's called a lecture. Oh, oops. And I could be wrong. And I could be wrong. So either they won't say it, which makes it very clear that this is not a conversation, and I'm not really here to have dinner and be lectured to. If I wanted to do that, I'd go to a seminar, right? Or they'll say, all right, that sounds fair. And they say, and I could be wrong at the end of each sentence. And guess what happens when they hear themselves saying that? They start going, wow, and I could be wrong. What would that be like? What if I'm wrong about this guy? Or what if I'm wrong about that? Wouldn't that be something? So if you were clients of mine, I'd say for you, an assignment would be, I want you for the next week, everything you say, I want you to end it with, and I could be wrong. Now, the few exceptions will be, I have to go pee really badly. And I could be wrong. Although even that is subjective. I'm going to show you how subjective life is. Subjective. It's all subjective. Has anyone ever had to go pee really badly? Anybody? Really badly? Like, I can't hold it for another freaking 30 seconds. Yeah? Has anybody ever been in a car when that happened? Come on. Remember, this keeps you awake. Has anybody been in a car when that happens and found out that the gas station's 15 minutes away? Come on, hands up. Anybody been in that situation when you were not, say, a guy with a bottle and no self-control who wasn't willing to whip it out and take care of business right there on the spot? Anybody said, oh, okay, I'll have to wait? Come on. Anybody ever wait that 15 minutes? Come on. Come on, lots of us. Wait a minute, though. A minute ago, you couldn't wait 30 seconds. How in the heck do you go from I can't wait 30 seconds to 15 minutes? How does that work?
Your expectations.
Yeah, when you said to yourself a minute ago, whoever was driving, I can't wait, I have to go now. You meant it, didn't you? But it wasn't true, was it? How about this version? Here's the twist. So you get to the gas station, you manage to wait the whole 15 minutes, you go up to this door, you're opening the door, you're getting in there, and your zipper won't come down, and it is like the hardest thing you ever did in the world not to just pee all over your jeans, right? That last 5 seconds, you were this close to just peeing all over the place, right? So you had to go, you couldn't wait, you couldn't last 30 seconds, but suddenly you can last 15 minutes, and now you can't last 5 seconds. How does that work? Can't last 30, oh, but I can last 15 minutes. Oh, no, I can only last 5 seconds. It's all in your head. You could have lasted another 5 minutes if you had to. The bladder's very durable, it stretches, and when it's full, it backs into your kidneys, and then they'll fill up, and you can hold a lot more than you realize. It's just very uncomfortable. But you said to yourself, I can't last. I got to go now when you're opening up that bathroom door. And now you got 5 seconds. Whereas a second ago, you had 15 minutes. This is your life. How many other things have you said, I can't do this? I can't wait. I can't last. I can't go out. I can't knock on one more door. I got to stop. I need a break. How many times have you said that and you were probably wrong? Come on. How many times have you ever said, I can't anything, and you were probably wrong for $1 billion?